Right guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. In this one I'm just going to be showing you how to install new shift cable for your rear derailleur. That is Shimano rear derailleur. So I'll go ahead, I'll run through the steps. Right, so here we have the rear derailleur. Now this just happens to be an Ultegra R8000, but it doesn't matter if you've got a R7000 105 or a Dura-Race 9100. Same principle applies. It could be a long cage, short cage, makes no difference. Now, the first thing is you could be changing your cable for many different reasons. Your cable's stretched over time, or your cable's frayed up in your shifter body and your shifting's gone bad, but you just think, well, I'm looking at the cable down here, or you're looking at the cable here and it seems to be in good condition, say if you've got external cables, that is, or by the derailleur, you think, well, the cable's not that old. It doesn't matter, it could be frayed up inside the shifter body itself. Now I'll put a link on the screen to a video showing you how to get your frayed out cable removed from your shifter body, just in case you're wondering how to do it, if that is the case with yours. Now the cables do stretch over time anyway, so after you've been riding for a while you may need to adjust your barrel adjuster a few clicks over time, because the cable will stretch and you're shifting to go out on a couple of the gears. Could be anywhere on the cassette, mainly somewhere maybe in the middle. Now if that happens, then you can adjust your barrel adjuster, but over time the cable will stretch to a certain point where adjusting it is not going to make any difference. And also your shifting can go bad over time, just due to age of the cable and like the age of your outer cables. If you ride in the wet a lot, or washing your bike even, the cables inside, they tend to get a bit of water inside them, and over time corrosion will get in, dirt gets in, and it just wears your cables. So now first thing you're going to do in this is, if you've got the chain on like this, first of all is just shift down to the 11 at the back, so the smallest one at the back on the shifter. Now obviously if your shifter's all frayed up and the cable's frayed up in your shifter, you won't be able to shift down to that, so it won't matter about this. You're more concerned about getting the shifter cable out of your the body of the shifter. But if you're still working, you can shift down to 11, so I'll just do that. Like so. So that means the shifter will be in the right place, so as when we go to do the cable, we can put the new cable through the shifter body. And then all I'll do, because you just want to check the setup of the derailleur is right putting a cable on, but you want to make sure that it's going to work perfectly when you've done the cable. So what I'll do is I'll just remove the chain out of the way, so I can check the setup properly, so you know it's going to be working spot on when you come to set it up. There's no point putting a cable in it and it won't be working properly, so you might as well just literally remove your chain out of the way. Once you've done that, then what I'll do with a 4mm hex head or Allen key is now shifted down to 11. What I'll do is undo the pinch bolt. We just undo that, and then you get your cable out like so. And we just do the pinch bolt back up a little bit, just keep it in place. So once you've got your cable out of the pinch bolt, like so, then you've got your end stop on there, like so. So what you want to do is just snip off the end stop, and if your cable's kinked at all there from going through your pinch bolt, it shouldn't be, but sometimes they get a bit of a kink in them, just make sure you cut it off where it's the cable's still straight. So just snip that off there like that, and that's because this is external routed, as you can see, so this is easy to put the cable in. If it's going back through internally, you don't want a kink in it anywhere, because if you're putting a new cable through, then the kink in it is going to foul up inside, especially if it goes through any internal plastic inside the frame, plastic sleeving or anything, or tubing, then it could get caught up. So you're better off just snipping it off so it's straight. And then what you can do is you can just pop that out of there, out your barrel adjuster like that. Obviously whatever you've got is going to go into the frame here, the outer cable, so you can check the outer cable. They start to crack over time where they're bent in a certain position. They'll get cracks in them anyway, so you're better off replacing your outer cables. But I appreciate some people don't want to unwrap their bars to put a new outer cable up there, but the water doesn't tend to get in under the handlebars so much as it does in the cables, the outer cables down here, especially if they're externally routed. So it always pays to replace this section of cable when you're doing the inner cable, replace the outer. So now we cut that off, we can just slide that off of there. Now what you want to do is, now your derailleur is just hanging free, is with your barrel adjuster, just turn that all the way clockwise until it stops, and then just back it out a couple of clicks anti-clockwise, so it's just off the bottom. And make sure that it's easy to turn as well. Make sure that it is actually turning nice and freely. It's actually working. Sometimes the threads, the barrel adjuster there, can get dirty in there, so sometimes it pays just to undo it all the way out, just take it apart like so, and you'll see over time the dirt gets in. The dirt, you can see there, rust and grit on the threads. So what we do is just clean that up with a wire brush before we reassemble it again. Put a bit of grease on the thread there just to help it, stop it getting rusty, and then I'll refit that. Like I said, screw it all the way in anti-clockwise, clockwise, right in, just back it out a couple of clicks off the bottom. It's just check that the derailleur, where it's mounted, is actually touching down the back here against your derailleur hanger, and it's not off the derailleur hanger. It could have moved over time. And check the bolt as well, make sure that's done up. If you want to torque it up, 6 to 8 Newton meters on that, but just check that that hasn't moved as well. Just another thing to look at. Right, so now we've done the barrel adjuster at that end, sorted that out. We've just come up to the lever end, and what you want to do is just pull back your hood, so get that pulled back as far as you can. And now on the inside there, just about see a grey cover there. So what you want to do, yours might be a clear plastic cover, it might be a grey one, makes no difference. You just flick that cover out with a little screwdriver like so, just leave it like that. Now because we disconnected the cable from the derailleur already and snipped off the end, what you can do is you can go by your head tube down here where it goes into the bike, down by the head tube or down tube. You can pull it out of there slightly. If yours is internal routed, you can just pull it out, you know, 3 or 4 inches out of the actual down tube or head tube. Just pull it out, the outer cable. You'll see the inner down there. Just leave that there for a minute. Obviously if yours is going inside the frame, you'll just see it sticking out. Then what you can do up here is a small screwdriver. You can just hook the cable in behind the cable like that, so you see it. Then just pull it out enough so you can get hold of it. Then you can pull it all the way through. Obviously as yours is internal routed, then you want to have some way of getting a new cable back into the frame. So if you pull it all the way out, then you've lost your cable. Then the old cable, you can use the old cable to route the new cable. But this is, like I said, externally routed, so all bikes differ. Like, you know, not one bike could be the same. Some are easier to see the cable down by the bottom bracket area, some aren't. You know, some have got a sleeve all the way running through the frame, some have got an outer cable running through inside the frame. It just depends what you've got, to how you get your cable from the shifter to the rear derailleur. You know, there's so many different ways that they're set up these days. So like I say, just keep pulling your cable through all the way until it gets to the end like that. So you've got the end of it out now, and then what you do then is just make sure you got your hood pulled back enough so on the outside of the lever there's just a hole, a slit for it, so then you can just push that back out, because we shifted down earlier on the derailleur before we disconnected it. You just push it out like that and the cable comes out the other side like so. See it there? Then you can just pull it through all the way, and there's the whole cable removed. Right, so when it comes to putting a new cable in, what you want to do is pull back your hood, and you can see the slot where the cable, your old one, come out of there. So what you want to do is put the cable like that through the top hole, then pass it through, make sure your hood's pulled back, and it comes out the other side, you can see here. So it goes straight through. So what you want to do then is just get the cable all the way through, just keep feeding it through until you come to the stop. And then with the stop, you want to put the stop down into the bottom there, so it doesn't go like that. It goes in down the bottom there, and then push it in place and it'll just disappear up inside the shifter body like that. Then pull on it from the opposite side to make sure it's gone all the way up in there. You'll be able to see it, but it'll be up inside the body. If it's not, then it's not installed correctly and you'll get bad shifting. So make sure it's up inside like that, and then it comes out this side. I'll just show you that. Right, so we're back on the inside the shifter. So cable, you put it down through the hole there like that, just keep pushing it through until it comes out at the other end by your head tube or your down tube. Once you got it going through, you can get hold of it down there and just pull it the rest of the way through and just get the loop out of it like that. So once it's in place, it just sits there, and you get your little cover and you can pop that back in place like that, and then just fold back your hood again like that. Make sure it's folded right back out of the way, and that's the cable installed. Right, so with your outer cable that's down by the derailleur, you want to put a new piece on there, for instance. Now when you pull off the ends of these, I'll just show you, you pull off the ends, you'll see rust there. A lot of people presume all that rust is coming out from inside the outer cable, where in fact that is just the rust there. Well, it can be coming out from inside the cable. If you pull your cable out and your cable's covered in rust itself, then the cable's rusting, and therefore it's all rusty, and that rusty water left inside the outer cable. But if you just pull off the end stops like so, you see the rust there, and inside the cap, just pull off the other end so you can see, like that. That's because when you cut the cable, there's metal in the inside of the cable, the strands, to keep it so it's flexible like that. So the wire strands in there, they're under the black outer, they go rusty, and then the rust goes inside your cap there, just from the damp or whatever, or the water when you wash your bike. So it doesn't mean that it's bad inside there necessarily. You could have it on there for a couple of weeks and it'd look like that. So if you want to make up a new piece, if yours is bad and it's all cracked on the outsides where they bend, like I said, they perish, they go split over time. Then just take your ends off if you want to replace them anyway, and then just get your a new piece of outer and just put it against your old one like so. Then with your cable cutters, we just snip that to length there. Like that. And there's a difference between them, so you can see the metal strands up in there. And then what we want to do is get a screwdriver with a point on it to open up the ends of the cable. The minute, as you can see, where you've just cut it, it squashes it down, so it's not round, and the inner, the plastic inner, gets squashed where you've just cut the cable. So you just need a pointed object to open it back up. So I'll get one of those. Just get something with a point on it like so, and put it down in there and just open that up again like that. So as it's open, do the same both ends, check them, make sure they are opened up. So that's the cable cut to length. Now with the stops to go on the end, you've got a choice of stops. You can get stops like that. Now these aren't sealed up inside, they're just open in there, so if you look down inside it, there's nothing in there. It's very hard to show on camera, but there'll be nothing down in there. It just goes straight down, there's nothing. So those type. Now to keep the water out a bit better, especially if you're riding a lot of wet weather, etc., these are sealed caps like this. Obviously they're Shimano genuine caps. If you look down inside there's a white piece at the very bottom. That's a rubber in there, little O-ring in those. You can make that out or not. I'll show you one that hasn't got one in it. See, that one's just black, there's nothing down in there. That one, this one, you can see it's got a rubber in there. So if you want to help keep the moisture out, you can put the ones with a sealed end on, like that. Just helps keep the moisture and the dirt out. Right, so before we hook the cable up to the derailleur, there's just a couple of things to check. So what you want to do is push your derailleur forward, and you can see, looking from behind, you can just see your guide wheel there at the top jockey wheel. So what you want to do is hold it forward and just make sure that it's in line with the outside edge of the 11 tooth with the guide wheel. If it's not, then with a 2mm hex head, locate your high screw, which is the top one there, so you can adjust it with that. If yours is just slightly out, remember looking directly from behind there. So once you're happy with that, you can just push down on the cage, push it over by hand, and just check that it's dead in line with the largest cog at the back, say you got 25, 28, 32, whatever you got, make sure it's dead in line. If that needs adjusting, then you go 2mm hex head again to your low screw, which is that one there. Just give it a tweak, push it over until you're happy with it, make sure it's dead in line with that. So that's that done. So then we'll just thread on the outer cable to your inner, get that in position like that, and then thread your cable down through your barrel adjuster and out the other side, and then locate your cable into your barrel adjuster, make sure it's in your frame as well properly, and then you can just get your cable, put it under your pinch bolt washer, like so. So we've got that in position now. So took the cable up. What you want to do is 4mm hex head again for your pinch bolt, is pull on the cable, pulling forward on your cable towards the front chain rings. So you get hold of it and pull on it as hard as you can. Just be careful not to move the derailleur at all, make sure you're pulling forward and the derailleur is not moving in any way. So once you got hold of it, pull on it as hard as you can there, and then just snug up your pinch bolt like so. Then we're ready for the next step. Right, so we hook the cable up, so you just leave your cable alone, don't cut it yet. Then what you want to do is go up to your shifter and just shift across to make sure you've got all the available 11 gears. Obviously you're on the first one to start with, so you've got 10, effectively 10 clicks on your shifter. So I'll just go ahead, shift across. Right, so once you've done that, then what you're looking for, I'll try and show you as best I can, is if you're looking directly down at the cassette from above like this, and when it's on your 11 there, when you shift up, say if I shift it up now a click, I can see that I've shifted up one, but the guide wheel there isn't in line with the second cog in. It's like halfway between the two. So obviously when you put a chain on, then that's just going to be out, so it's not going to work properly. So you don't even need to put a chain on to set it up. It's easier to just do it without the chain. So you can just see that's not right. So if you go to your barrel adjuster, because obviously it's just down to cable tension, that's all it is. It's as simple as that. Obviously pulling on the cable, you can only get so much tension into it by pulling on it as hard as you can by hand. It just needs a bit more tension just to move it across. So what I'll do is go to the barrel adjuster and I'll just undo it anti-clockwise. By undoing it like that, you may have to do it a few clicks, you may have to do it a few turns, whichever. You can get it so as it's dead in line with the second one in. So then I'll just go up to the shifter again and just click across so as it's up to the third one, then looking down directly from above again, make sure that it's in line, then just keep going up, the fourth one, see if it's in line, fifth, etc. Just go across, making sure that that jockey wheel, the guide wheel, is in line with them. So it might be alright to start with, but as you go across it might just be out a little bit, so you might have to give it, say, a few clicks anti-clockwise just to get it, the cable tensioned, just to move it across a little bit. So you just keep doing that and then go back down again and then do it again, just to make sure that everything's lined up correctly. And then what we do is put the chain back on. Right, so what I'm going to do now is just put the chain back on. So I'll just hook this up in real time and then I'll try it. Just see if we was anywhere close to it. See, your cable there is still long, so what you want to do is just make sure that's out of the way somewhere first. Otherwise, when you start pedaling or hold it out of the way, he'll go into your spokes, so don't cut that yet. So I'll just try it. So now we've got it shifted up to the largest at the back. What you want to do then is just check the B screw adjustment, which is the gap there where the chain's passing through between the guide wheel and the largest at the back. So make sure there's enough room for that chain to come through there cleanly off of the cassette onto the guide wheel. It's not getting fouled up or anything. Just check that, because it will all make a difference to the overall shifting. So make sure there's a gap there, about 7mm gap, so it's coming off clean and onto the cassette, off the cassette onto the guide wheel. You should just be able to back pedal there without the chain falling off or anything, like so. So once you're happy with that, just shift back down again and make sure that you've got your gears there. Now if you shift all the way down, obviously shift up on your front chain ring to check that as well. If you've got any ones that are slightly fouling up, they're not changing perfect, so they're half in between, whatever, which you shouldn't have. If you set it up by looking down at all the gears, they should be in line, so you shouldn't have a problem. But if you have, then it's just a case of just tweaking your barrel adjuster. You might get one that's just a little bit out somewhere in the middle of the cassette, just a case of giving it a couple of clicks on your barrel adjuster and smoothing it out. Then what we can do is, once you're 100% happy with it, you run it up and down plenty of times to check, then all you got to do is snip the cable off and put a stop on there. Right, so when you finish setting it up, you shift over to your largest sprocket at the back and just check, because if you leave the cable too long, it will interfere with your spokes. You'll wonder what the ticking noise is, so you want to cut it off, as you can see, like that, so as it's not going to be in the way of your spokes. You can just snip that cable off, and then just put your end stop on, stop the cable fraying out at the end. So just crimp that on, like so. Right, so there's the install complete. So I hope you found the video helpful. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more cycle related content. Till next one, ride safe and I'll see you then.